Hello and welcome to your reading on what you are severely underprepared for and how to prepare for it. This first part of the reading is meant to be a confirmation that you're at the right reading, but it is also answering the question of what it is that you're severely underprepared for. And I always go into these readings with the intention of getting elaborate and really expanding on what the cards mean, but the messages have been coming through so crisply. So at least in this portion of the reading, we're going to keep it quick and to the point. We have growth, which features this spiral drawing in the center. We then have the Page of Swords reversed, the Six of Pentacles reversed, and the Two of Cups upwards. And okay, so obviously with growth, pretty point blank, what you are severely underprepared for is the growth that is necessary for the things that you're wanting. And that's what tarot is saying. With the Page of Swords reversed, any page is someone that is engaging with anything that's new and everything that comes with that. Sometimes engaging with something new can be a very positive experience and it's a good thing. Other times it can be something a little bit more trepidatious, something that we need to be more careful and cautious around. The Page of Swords always kind of gives me the energy of the first day at a new school or a new job, where you know that you belong there, you know that you're supposed to be there, but there's so much that you're intaking, there's so much data, there's so many things that you're trying to figure out. Like if it's at a school, like where your class is, and where everything is kind of situated so that you know how to get around. And then beyond that, you're also intaking the information that the classes have for you. And beyond that, you're also kind of taking in society, social hierarchies and things like that, and where you kind of fit into that. And there's all of this data that's being thrown at you. And sometimes there's so much that's being thrown at you that it can be a little overwhelming and it can be a somewhat uncomfortable experience. And so the Page of Swords really almost always gives me this energy of a discomfort, but not because it's what you're experiencing, it's bad. It's just that there's an overwhelm of how much data you're processing. Reversed, then, it's you not wanting to engage with something new because it's overwhelming. The Six of Pentacles upwards is the dispensation of one's resources in a positive way, in a way that isn't detrimental to the self. So the Six of Pentacles upwards really is a card of regulation, of balance, of knowing where best to dispense your resources, money, time, energy. Reversed, then, it's you not properly dispensing those resources. And what that kind of says here in this message is that you are feeling compelled and tugged towards these new experiences, towards this growth that we're talking about, but the thought of it overwhelms you, or you know that it's going to be a lot, so you just ignore it. The Two of Cups here at the end of being the one card that's upwards in the tarot spread really communicates to me not only that there is an emotional fulfillment that is waiting for you at the end of this road that's kind of opening to you with the other cards, what the other cards are describing, the growth, the proper dispensation of your resources, etc. But the Two of Cups is also kind of if in any way, shape, or form romance is something that you want, whether it's you're with someone and you know that growth is gonna benefit not only you but this relationship, it's okay, that's something that's kind of being said is made available through that growth. If there is a particular type of individual that you are trying to attract, going through those changes would enable that. If there's someone that you're trying to pursue and you feel like they're a little out of your league, or maybe they've even let you know in some way, shape, or form that you need to kind of do better, maybe, okay, I kind of want to be careful with this message here, because it's if you're going to go through this growth and change for the sake of an individual, I have to say that you're doing it for the wrong reasons. It has to be for the self. Anything that you do for someone else means that if they mess up, which they're bound to because they're human, you will then use that as justification to go back on that growth, or etc. Not that would happen for all of you. It's just that doing something for someone else is never a good foundation for anything if you're doing it for, like, if it's meant to be done for the self. So do it for yourself. Do it, and that's kind of, I guess, this part of the message here, where it's like, because with the Page of Swords, it's like, that's you engaging with something. The growth is yours. It's just that, okay, like, maybe a connection with that individual, or a deeper connection if you're already with that person, maybe that only feels impossible because of who you are right now. And the growth that you're being moved towards is one that would make those things that you want and seem impossible possible. And so, okay, what are you severely underprepared for? The growth that you is kind of waiting for you to, like, engage with and actually, like, do. Don't be alarmed in that, like, you're underprepared for it. It kind of feels like you already know that, like, you already feel like you're not prepared for it, which is why you're not willing to engage with it. Fair and valid, but the whole point of this reading is not only to acknowledge that, but then also to point out how to succeed here. And yeah, I guess without further ado, let's just get into how do you succeed into this growth that you know is waiting for you. We have for you Guide Reversed, which features a hand with a handheld bell, ringing that bell. The keyword for the reversal is correction. On the other side, we have the Ace of Wands, and then Divinimation offers Cookie Cat from Steven Universe, the Powerpuff Girls, and the Sea Duck, which is from DuckTales. If you don't know what DuckTales is, that is okay. I will give elaborations and explanations on how it all fits in. But I do want to start off with the Guide Reversed and the Ace of Wands, because these cards are basically answering the question of how to get yourself to do these things in the first place, because you're obviously resistant to it. It's something that you feel underprepared for, so you don't want to take on it. It feels overwhelming. And so if you're looking for how to motivate yourself, that's what these two cards are answering. And then the cards in the center, the Divinimation cards, are basically just like messages of comfort for you to take with you as you engage with this growth and change. I'm going to start with the Ace of Wands because that is the easier and nicer message of the two. The Ace of Wands, point blank, is like to grasp on to the motivation. So we're talking about the Two of Cups and what that could mean, where on one hand it's emotional fulfillment through the pursuit of this growth. So if it's not anything to do with a relationship, think of what it is that you're trying to grow into, or what that growth might enable, and the fulfillment that would come from that. That's kind of what's being said here, is there is emotional fulfillment that is waiting for you. It's just that you have to go through these changes first. And it's almost kind of like, when I say it that way, what comes to mind is how often we only have access to certain levels of joy, of comfort, of wealth that isn't monetary. We only really have access to really high levels of that when we ourselves elevate to that level. We can only experience something as deeply or as greatly as we are, so as big or as small as we are. And so you growing would only enable higher capacities of joy, of fulfillment for you, and that is kind of what's being said. Specifically, if we're talking about romantic, like the romantic goals that we were talking about earlier, where it's like, if you're already with someone and you want to develop a stronger relationship with them, or you want romance in the first place, but you know that you have to go through this growth first to get it, or there's a specific individual that you have your eye on who you know requires more in order for you to be in the same like ballpark as them. The Ace of Wands is basically saying, like, take that as motivation, where it's like, that's part of why you're doing it. Again, we're doing it for the self. That's what's important, that it's for you. But it's a kind of that, it goes hand in hand with that first message of like, you growing enables higher capacities, and in that space, higher connection, genuine connection is made available. So take that as something to grasp onto in terms of motivation. Okay, to move into the guide with correction, I feel like it's kind of on the nose. correction, correct yourself. But the thing is that word and this energy coming into this reading, and given everything I've already said about growth and it feeling overwhelming, correction really starts to bring a different vibe to the party. Because now what's being said is that you actually know that there are certain things aren't right. There's some things that you do feel kind of bad about, maybe in the ways that you've moved in the past or the way that you're currently doing things. You know that this growth is actually something you want because you are starting to feel bad about certain things. You are starting to recognize that some things do need correcting because you're not feeling super great about it. And maybe you didn't feel this type of way before, but maybe something to do with that like connection or wanting deeper emotional fulfillment might have like enabled you to see like, why am I so unfulfilled, or why are these things not possible for me? And now you're starting to see, well, it's because I've been doing things that I need to now correct. And so part of the motivation with correction is like starting to acknowledge the things that you feel wrong about, the things that you recognize you're not proud of, or that need correcting. And so as you engage with this path, it's like part of it might, this isn't advice that I would give to just anyone, and please don't abuse it, but it's kind of like learning how to shame yourself about the right things. If you're like, we all shame ourselves, and usually for the wrong things. It's about shaming yourself for the right things. Like if you know that was wrong, it's like maybe you should feel a little more ashamed about it, so that that feeling of shame kind of keeps you from doing it anymore. Take that if it helps. If you have a weird relationship with shame, shoot that message in the face and forget about it. But like, it's just some things need correcting. And so part of the message here is what'll make that growth easier to engage with is knowing that you have things to correct and that you're ready to correct them because you want to do better for yourself, which is kind of the name of the game with this whole reading. Okay. With Divinimation, Cookie Cat in Steven Universe figures prominently in the pilot episode and in the final episode of the original run of Steven Universe. And the whole point of Cookie Cat in the first episode is that it is his favorite ice cream snack and it's discontinued and he's devastated. And so he went to the store and he bought out everything that they had. And so it's kind of like this thing that like it's over, it's done. He no longer has access to, but he's grasping onto it because it's his favorite thing. And it's sweet, he's a kid. So it's like, we can understand a kid not wanting to give something up, but he's a kid, so it's understandable. You, my friend, are not. Even if you, like anybody who has the capacity to receive this message, you're not a kid. Even if you're 12 years old watching this, and you shouldn't be, my readings are for adults, but even at that point, like you have the maturity to understand that there are certain things you need to let go of because it's time to mature now. And so what Cookie Cat is saying is, yes, it was nice to have that. It was nice to live that experience while you were still naive enough to enjoy it, or when you didn't have the necessary knowledge to understand why you can no longer move that way. That was cool, but it's over now. And so at the final episode, which is when he basically decides that he wants to move from home, he's an adult now, he's grown up. The way that he breaks that to his roommates is that he hand makes Cookie Cat, and they don't look great because they're homemade, they're not like manufactured, but it's something that he decided to do to kind of tie together his whole arc of growth and to demonstrate to his roommates that he's like mature enough to like leave home. Whatever. The point is, Cookie Cat symbolically represents the ending of a cycle and the acceptance that that cycle is over and it's now time to move into something else. And it's not about like letting it go and forgetting about it. No, you can remember it fondly. You can do things to acknowledge it. And maybe it's not even something that you have to let go of entirely so much as no. Cookie Cat really does feel like something you need to let go of entirely, especially with correction there. So there are certain things that like, yes, you do need to let go of entirely because it's time to, and you're getting the truth about it being over, like loud and clear, but you're grasping onto it. And so do what you need to let that go, but understand that the time for it is over. You're the only one who hasn't accepted that. Take that as it resonates. The next two cards say the same thing, but in different like formats, where in essence, part of what'll make this easier is the understanding that not everything will be different. You and very likely the tight-knit group around you, and when I say tight-knit, it's like the people that you consider close to you, the people that you love the most, the people that you know love you, that isn't going to change. It's just the things that need correcting need to change. The things that you know you're recognizing you've outgrown, that's what needs to change. But the right relationships, the good people, that will remain. You, the core, who you are at your core, the good stuff about you, that will remain. Powerpuff Girls adds to that. Powerpuff Girls is basically the message of like the people around you, like they'll stick by you, kind of like the Powerpuff Girls always stick together. But also like the growth, like it's an echo of the Two of Cups message of like this growth will only allow you to find the right people. Like you developing yourself like lets other people know, like the right people know, it's like, oh, this is a like-minded person because you've grown. Mind you, you're all people like that, anybody is always going to also attract the wrong type of person, so it's up to you to discern that, but you should, by that point you'll know that. The point with Powerpuff Girls is that like the right people will stay around, the right people will, you'll be able to attract the right people if you go through this growth. With Sea Duck, which is from, wait, it's not from DuckTales, it's from, oh my god, what was it called? I don't remember, but I don't remember what it was called. Oh my god, I suck. I don't. This is such an old show. But the whole point, the whole premise was weird because it was characters from the Jungle Book. The Jungle Book, which is like a movie from the 60s, took place in the jungle, and the animals in it, while yes, they were like kind of like humanoid because they talked and they danced and they sang, were still animals. They were wild animals. But in this show, Baloo is now running a business, and he like drives this plane, like he flies this plane, and he wears like a hat and a shirt because he's a pilot. And if I'm not mistaken, like the King Louis is also in it, but he's not a king, he's like a mechanic. And if I'm not mistaken, Shere Khan is also in it, but like they're brand new characters. It's like these characters that we know and we saw in one context, in one movie, now put into a completely different world that is like it's the same characters but in a completely different role. And it's just kind of weird to think about that, but the whole point, the whole message here is that of evolution, where it's like it's still you at the core, it's still Baloo, but in a completely different environment, now acting in a completely different way and doing different things because he's different, he's evolved. The other characters as well that I mentioned. That's the energy that I'm getting from this card, where it's like, it's still you at your core will not change. It's just that the things, again, that you're recognizing need to be left behind. The cycles you've outgrown, that's what'll be left behind. And so the changes aren't as drastic as you're making it, like what as it might feel, where it's like, oh, all of me is wrong and I have to change all of me. No, actually, it's just tweaks. It's just certain adjustments that do feel difficult because they're, relatively big adjustments. But it's not about tearing yourself entirely down and starting from scratch. No, the foundation is good. The structure is good. It's kind of like these characters, they knew they could rely on them to attract attention because they were popular characters. So it's like, yeah, we'll just use them in something else. It's kind of like the same with you, where it's like there's so much of you that's already great and genuine. It's just adjustments need to be made. Maybe it's about you putting yourself in new environments. Maybe there's certain people, certain spaces that enable the things that you've outgrown, and so it's like you need to leave those spaces and those people behind and kind of engage with new things and see what else is out there for you. So it's not like really the message here, even though like the whole point of me doing this reading was to reveal what you are actually underprepared for. This reading is kind of confirming you're not underprepared for it, you're just scared of it. And you'll actually realize as you engage with this change and this growth that not only are you ready for it, it's something that you actually want. My friend, I hope that this had something for you. Godspeed, and I hope to catch you at another reading. Bye. Hello, and welcome, Pile 2, to your reading on what you are severely underprepared for and how to prepare for it. This first part of the reading is meant to be a confirmation to you that you're at the right reading, but it is also answering that first question of what you are severely underprepared for. We have for you here soulmate. And if you're listening, the image of it is two hearts intertwined. The best way I can describe it to you is kind of like how a Star of David is two triangles intermingled, where one triangle is facing up and the other triangle is facing down. That's what this image here is. One heart is facing upwards, the other heart is facing downwards. It's only the lines of the heart. It's only the line heart, like the outward border, and then it's creating this like intermingled image. And then tarot offers the Devil, the Eight of Wands, and the Page of Swords. The Devil is going to be, this is the sci-fi tarot, and so we have a man and a woman without any clothes facing away from us, and they're facing what looks like a supercomputer, just because there's this like background of switches and dials, and there's really only one monitor, but you can tell that it's machinery around it. And in the monitor are two very evil looking eyes. They're red and they have like the angry, they're kind of drawn in a very angry way. The Eight of Wands depicts a city being evacuated, and then in the sky there seems to be like this alien structure. And the Page of Swords kind of gives the energy of, it's like the original Star Wars A New Hope, when Luke and Leia are making their way out of the Death Star and they like swing across that like it's not like a tunnel, it's like up and down, but like it's machines, and there's like this like espionage like action energy going on, and there's not a lot of like action in the image here. It's just this one individual, and she seems to be in this like machine tube thing, and I don't know, it just gives very much like she's somewhere doing a job that she's supposed to be doing. But the energy, like the Star Wars energy coming in, kind of gives it this almost like, because that energy is coming through really strong. It takes the energy of the image that we're given here, because the image is so like calm. It adds a bit of like tension to that, so that it's not such a calm energy. And okay, to talk about what I'm getting from all of this is an overwhelming attraction. What you are underprepared for is just how attracted you are to this individual. Now, this could be happening now. It could be something that's on the horizon, kind of making its way towards you. The phrase that's really coming through is she fell first, but he fell harder. And mind you, I've seen it with different pronouns switched around and in different ways. But and I don't think, like, I'm not saying that phrase is coming to mind because I think it's accurate. I'm not sure who fell first, but the point is that you're the one who fell harder. And honestly, none of these cards are talking about that individual. It's talking about you. So I don't know whether they're going to fall for you or if they already have. I don't know. The point is the attraction that is spoken of here with the Devil. It's like one that takes possession of you, one that literally has you moving differently, has you thinking differently, because now this attraction is like the center of your focus. Soulmates, of course, adds to that. And I want to point out, with different context, and we'll see what the tarot has to say about it, I'm not really taking the soulmates card here to indicate that this person is your soulmate. The tarot might confirm that. I'm getting it more so here as to how you feel about it. Specifically within the context with these tarot cards, the soulmates card takes more on how you feel. Like, you feel that this person is your soulmate, this person is the one, and that's why you feel so overwhelmingly attracted to them. The Eight of Wands is like energy, intangible energy being felt, being moved by, like, being properly motivated is a good way to talk about it. Think about how a motivation is an intangible energy that inspires like tangible action. And so that's what the Eight of Wands here is. It's like it's this devil energy, this like, and not, I'm not calling it the devil, but like how I described the devil, and this attraction that has really taken a hold of you is also motivating you to move in different ways. That's what I was getting from the Eight of Wands. And so with the Page of Swords, which all pages are engaging with something new, that's why we have the page here, where it's like you're kind of because the page is youth. it almost makes you feel like you did when you were a kid, like when you first fell in love, or has you maybe thinking and feeling like a kid again, or giddy, or something like that, where it's like you're willing to engage, you're willing to kind of look like a kid because that's how this has you feeling. Okay, and then with that added tension that I was talking about with the Page of Swords, that like Star Wars energy tension that I was talking about, kind of goes with the Eight of Wands, where it's like it's really moving you to move a certain way. You're not just doing this because you're just like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do it. No, it's like, no, I want this, I want to pursue it. So it's like, how can I do it, even if it has me moving in different ways, even if it has me thinking in different ways, because the swords are mind energy. I'm willing to engage with it. Pages upwards are always willing to engage with whatever it is that they're engaging with. And so it's not just that overwhelm of attraction to them. It's actually like something that has you willing to do something about it and move in a certain way. And so, okay, what are you severely underprepared for? Just how attracted you are to this person, and just how much you're willing to do for this person. Now, yeah, for some of you, I do feel like it might be a really good thing, like, you know, but I don't know. It's just, we have to get into the tarot. I have to wait to see before I say anything about whether this is a good or a bad thing. Because, sorry, not the tarot, but the rest of these cards, which are one tarot card and a whole bunch of oracle cards. But I want to wait to see, like, how should you prepare for this? What best way to maneuver through this before I even try to say, like, oh yeah, this will be great. Just because, I don't know, the way that the tarot kind of described it, and then, I don't know, we'll see. We will see. Let's get into how to prepare for this. Okay, so lots of advice with these cards, and I do want to say none of it is saying that it's a bad thing with this person or not to pursue it. Actually, it's saying don't pursue it. This is something you have to attract. You have to magnetize to you. I don't know. I do feel like it's going to be different for all of you, where for some of you, it is structured in this way because the specific individual that you are attracted to or are going to be attracted to doesn't like being chased or doesn't like being pursued. They prefer to kind of have that choice, or whatever the case is. It's like, because of that individual, you have to do it this way. For the rest of you, it's the universe kind of structured it this way because you have to learn how to control yourself and be more magnetic instead of just constantly chasing and chasing and chasing. Take that as it applies. Because basically all of these cards are telling you don't do anything, and just kind of don't do anything right now. Don't say anything. You really just work on yourself, because there's a lot of growth that has to be done, because just right now is not the finish line. You have that goal in mind. Great. Let's do the work. Let's take the steps to get to that goal. But right now is not the ending. Right now is not the finish line. We can't think about the finish line right now, the end game, because there's a lot that needs to be kind of worked on. And it's honestly not a lot. But okay. We have for you the Sleeper, which depicts a closed eye at the center of the card, and there's a whole bunch of dark clouds around this eye. I want to point out that it is a companion card to the Waker, which is an open eye that's more depicted like a sun with rays coming out of it, and the clouds are the same, but they're now like light white clouds, kind of like daytime. And so the dark clouds in this card don't seem dark as in bad, dark as in the opposite of good, but more so dark as in the opposite of light. So more like nighttime. The Sleeper, nighttime. Go to sleep. We'll elaborate on that in a second. The Divinimation deck offers Diamond Communicator from Steven Universe, Johnny Bravo, and then Bathroom also from Steven Universe. Diamond Communicator is basically like a diamond 3D shape. Each facet of it is kind of a different color. Johnny Bravo just depicts the character Johnny Bravo from the early 2000s cartoon. And then Bathroom is just like an overhead view of a standard looking bathroom. I recognize it from Steven Universe. If you've watched Steven Universe, it's his bathroom. We'll elaborate on that in a second. And then the Four of Wands reversed depicts a wedding, a union being brought together. The Four of Wands doesn't typically traditionally represent a wedding. In some cases, there are a lot of people who say that it does. It gives more so traditionally the energy of a celebration, of a homecoming, of the finish line, basically, which a wedding can be a demonstration of all of those things, which is why it's depicted as a wedding here. And I feel like the wedding imagery is very appropriate for the fact that we're basically having a love reading right now. Okay, so to get into Sleeper, two things that are coming through. With the eye closed, because of how attracted you are to this person, you might just find yourself wanting to look at them and stare at them and just ogle at them. And Sleeper is basically telling you, do not do that. With how severe you're attracted to this person, or maybe because that's just the individual, they don't like being looked at, like it, you could possibly come across as a little creepy, as a little bit weird, if you're just staring at this person. And you might blow your chances by weirding them out before you even get a shot at, like, communicating yourself to them. So, keep your eyes to yourself. Like, don't just, like, avoid eye contact with them and don't ever look at them. Like, steal your glances, look when you can, but make sure that you're not just staring at them, and just, control yourself. I'm gonna skip. Oh, well, no. Actually, I was gonna skip over to tarot, but no. I'm gonna skip over Diamond Communicator into Johnny Bravo, and then I'll talk about the two Steven Universe cards. With Johnny Bravo, if you've never watched Johnny Bravo, he flirted with absolutely every woman that came across him. He had no self-control. And in fact, the whole point of the show is that the women he approached would always be grossed out because he was such a weirdo about it. He had no self-control. He was always staring. He was always catcalling, and he was rude about it too. Like, he wasn't smooth in any way. Like, he was, I guess, meant to exude attractiveness because he has, like, the broad shoulders, and he works out, and he has the hair, and he has, like, this cool facade. But when he opens his mouth, he's a creep. He's weird, and that's why women don't like him. Regardless of gender, what's being said here with what I was getting from Sleeper and then Johnny Bravo here, it's like, there's this real call for self-control, where if you allow yourself to be guided by your impulses right now with the devil and, all of that energy of, like, being overwhelmingly attracted to this person, you are going to come across as immature and creepy to this person, and it's not going to pan out the way that you want to. So again, self-control. I'll go back to Sleeper for a second, because another thing that I forgot to mention about it is, with Sleeper being the opposite of, like, awake and conscious, and sleeping being the time for the subconscious, the unconscious, it's where I was getting that energy of, like, right now is not the time to speak those emotions. You might feel a certain way, but for now, until you have a better control of these things, and until you've learned a little bit of self-control, and until we've engaged with what we're about to get into with the Steven Universe cards, which is in essence development, until we've really taken care of that, it's not the time to pursue this individual or really any attraction. But it's really coming through as, like, with this individual. There's something about this individuals and their criteria that's really coming into play here. So, okay. Sleeper, keep your eyes to yourself, don't ogle, don't stare, but then also don't make your feelings known quite yet. Johnny Bravo, control yourself. There's also, like, to segue into the positive aspect of this, which will also segue into the other cards, is confidence. If what I've been saying so far hasn't really rang true for you, it's like, I don't need to control myself. Like, I know how to not make someone uncomfortable. I know not to flirt. Like, I'm not like that. Great. Then what's being said is, like, the confidence necessary to just know that you're attractive, to know that you've got it, and that being part of the magnetism that comes in. But, okay. With Diamond Communicator and with Bathroom, both of these cards, what a common denominator between the two of them is one of the characters, which is Peridot. Quick context, Peridot is one of the characters that goes through severe growth through the duration of the show. She basically starts out as very loyal to her government and her people. Maybe not her people, but definitely her rulers. and was following orders down to a T. She was very proud of how efficient she was in following her orders and how good she was at her job. And, long story short, through experiences in life and with our characters, she comes to find that her loyalty is misplaced, and that the love that she has for her friends has helped her to grow, to not follow these corrupt orders and not follow a corrupt government, and instead stand up for what she believes in. So it's like this sense of individuality, but also a sense of community, which she then serves. So she's not just self-serving, she also serves her community. But her being self-serving is, in this case, in this context, a good thing, because she was only serving her masters before. So she gains like individual freedom, but then she also gains like this phenomenal community of friends and family for whom she fights for. And so, okay, that paradox is coming through so clearly, is kind of where I was getting that energy, especially with Johnny Bravo as well, of immaturity, and listen, don't shoot the messenger, okay? I'm not calling you immature. I'm not saying you're immature. It's just that there's some maturing to be done. That's more so the message that's coming through here. And specifically a development, a maturity that is informed and inspired by love and community. And so I don't know if it's going to be this individual, or if there's people in your life, opportunities in your life that are really not only showing you what it means to move in community, to move in love. Like, I don't know if it's like something that you're witnessing, or it's something that you have space to, like, start to pay attention. The teachers are there. The universe is ready for you you are ready to learn these things and to develop. And there's something about, through you learning how to be a little less about you and more about others. And if not that, there's something about the softening of the self. There's something about this development that you're being asked to go through that is being given to you, like the opportunity for it is being given through people. And it doesn't necessarily, again, feel like it's this individual that we're talking about that you're going to be severely attracted to. It could be. I don't know. The point is, through connection, through people, there is a development that you can go through that will then enable this maturing that we're talking about, that will then help you prepare for that overwhelming attraction, whether that's happening now or, again, is on the horizon waiting for you to kind of get there. Beyond that, each card is also kind of saying something specific, where Diamond Communicator is work on your communication, especially with like the Johnny Bravo card and the Sleeper card talking about like, control yourself in your communication. Yes, Diamond Communicator is also saying that, where it's like, yes, control your communication, but part of that self-control isn't just knowing what not to say, it's knowing what to say. And so just kind of start to prepare for the right opportunities with this individual to say what you need to, so that it's effective. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. Johnny Bravo, I've already said, it's on the one hand the self-control of not being too pushy, but then also standing in that confidence. And then Bathroom, yes, prison, because it's a prison for that character. And that's where I was getting that connection from that character. But then also another thing that was coming through with Johnny Bravo and Bathroom here is like, what do they call it? Not prepping. Primping. I don't know. Like, there might be something to, like, if you've been feeling called to take, like, you want to try a new style, or you kind of want to do this with your hair, or like with your makeup, or whatever the case is, try it out. There's something about it. You might gain a type of confidence through the exploration of that. It might be that this individual might like that. I don't know. But there's something, I couldn't ignore it. The fact that Johnny Bravo spent so much time combing his hair and looking in a mirror, and then a bathroom is where we, like, put ourselves together, for the most part, that kind of energy does come through, of like, just if you feel called to, if it's something like, maybe, take some time to work on your appearance to, a reasonable extent. Let's not get crazy and start to, like, completely morph ourselves into something else. That's not what I'm saying here. It's just, if you feel called to it, if that's something that's already existing in you, then continue to do that, or follow that path through. Don't just start I need to change my appearance or this person won't like me. That's not what I'm saying. You misheard it if that's what you got from that. Okay, finally, with the Four of Wands reversed. Again, not the finish line. Right now is not the time to like, okay, well, this is the person that I like. How do I make it happen so that we can get married? Like, chill. You're getting way ahead of yourself. Part of that Johnny Bravo energy. Chill. Like, just enjoy the process. Just enjoy being attracted to them. Learn, again, remember that you have to control yourself. Take your time. If it's meant to be, it will be. And if it's not, that's a good thing that it didn't happen. All of these cards, but the Four of Wands reverse specifically, it's just chill. Like, right, just, we're not at the celebration. We're not, and you don't even have to like, oh my God, I have to do something or we're not going to get it. No, literally what's being said is control yourself. Be still. There's some things you have to learn about community, about moving for others instead of the self, but still also taking care of the self, the balance, right? There's things to learn, be still, and then through that stillness, that magnetism will come. And like, it's that magnetism that's really going to do it for this person. And it's like, okay, this is someone to pay attention to. I'm going to leave that there because this is kind of delicate and, kind of nuanced, but you get what I'm saying. Self-control and magnetism is the name of the game. And again, pay attention for those opportunities for community to learn what it means to move in a different way that isn't entirely for the self. But okay, I really hope that this reading had something for you. Godspeed, and I hope to catch you at another reading. Bye. Hey, and welcome, Pile 3, to this reading on what you are underprepared for and how to prepare for it. This first part of the reading is meant to be a confirmation that you are at the right reading, but the way that it kind of goes with this reading, that doesn't necessarily have to be true, because I've noticed the trend with this reading is that sometimes it'll pick up on something that you're not experiencing right now, but that is kind of in your imminent future. So, I don't know, some of what I'm saying during this first part should at least somewhat resonate with you. And the rest, is just what it is, which might be revealing what's on the horizon. If, again, you're not already experiencing what I'm talking about right now in the moment. The whole point is that this first part answers the question of what you are unprepared for, and then we'll follow into the rest of the reading, which answers the question of how to prepare for it. We have for you Psychic, which honestly, the image in it looks like a Venn diagram with like two circles like sort of overlapping each other. But it kind of also looks like a circle kind of a single circle separating into two, kind of like cells do, I guess is another way to describe it. We have then the Page of Pentacles reversed, the Six of Pentacles upwards, and then the Six of Cups reversed. Okay, point blank, this is it. It's gonna range for. It depends on where you're at. Some people don't. It just depends on what you believe. Okay, so you need to decide right now. Are you the type of person who believes and knows that psychic abilities exist? You are part of party A, or group A, or group 1 or whatever, and then the rest of you will be in group 2, which is you don't believe in psychic things, and that's okay. There's still something here for you. But the point is, what you are unprepared for is for group A, an expansion or an access to psychic ability. For those of you who don't believe in that, it is knowledge. There is something that you are about to learn or you are currently learning. I'm not talking about learning a skill. I'm talking about a piece of information, a truth, a fact, something that you find out about, and it kind of shocks the system. The whole point is, for all of you across the board, what you're unprepared for is something that the words that are coming through, it's going to besiege the mind. It's something that will kind of change the way that you think, and in order to really grasp this knowledge, whatever it is we're talking about, whether it's psychic knowledge or, just factual knowledge, it is going to take that you adjust and evolve to that truth, and not the other way around. It can be quite detrimental to try to ignore this and try to not make the proper space for it. And that's what the tarot card is saying, is this thing, when it comes, this knowledge, when it comes, will feel like there is no place for it in your life, or it's going to feel like like it's just gonna feel like an extra thing. Like, oh, there's a weight to it. Because look at how this Page of Pentacles is reversed. He's holding up this pentacle and he's against these 6 pentacles with the 6 of Pentacles. And the 6 of Pentacles are all very ordered. Like it's perfect, it's perfectly symmetrical. Everything is exactly where it needs to be. A 7th one would ruin the symmetry. There's no space for that here. And so that's why the Page holding his pentacle is reversed. The pentacle here is that knowledge that we're talking about. And you feel out of place because there's no place for this knowledge. And so, but the 6 of Pentacles is the one that's upwards. And on the other side, we have a little bit more symmetry because we have a 6 of Cups. Yes, the reverse, but the symmetry is still there. I want to talk a little bit about how the 6s in this pip deck, or in pip decks, I always interpret as like lover's energy through the lens of whatever suit we're talking about, because it's 6, right? And 6 is lovers. So then I'm not so much seeing it as lovers in terms of like romantic union. Specifically, I take 6s in the suits as 2 different... Okay, so let's... In the context of the 6 of Pentacles, the 6 of Pentacles would be like one thing meeting another, and then those 2 things coming together. So like 3 pentacles represent one side, the other 3 pentacles represent the other, and the 6 of Pentacles puts them together, and it's the intermingling of these things. Kind of like the imagery in Psychic, where I guess now, instead of them pulling apart, they're coming together, the circles. And so here, the 6 of Pentacles looks like the way your life is currently set up, the way you've currently have everything set up, where, you know, there's time and space for this, there's time and space for this, and it all kind of meets your criteria of where you want things to be. Even if you feel like your life isn't perfect, the 6 of Pentacles represents your current life as it stands in its routines and habits, etc. And so the Page of Pentacles is you engaging with this new thing, Page, but then reverse. It's like not... It's kind of, an unwillingness to engage with this new thing, again, because it feels like there's no space in it in your life. The 6 of Cups on the other side being reversed, it's this merge of emotions. But here, because Cups, yes, can mean emotions, but it can also mean, I'm taking it here as like intuitive knowledge, kind of like deep messages. Like from the soul. And even again, if you don't believe in like psychic things, that's just that inherent instinct, like something that you just know deep inside. Like it's like your common sense, it's like your core values that drive you. That's then what we're picking up here with the 6 of Cups. And so the reversal is that like you not finding a space for this thing does cause a bit of internal discomfort. It's like, as much as you might want to ignore and deny this knowledge that's coming in, you can't, because it'll make you feel a certain way. You'll feel a certain way. I'm just kind of preparing you for what the 6 of Cups is kind of talking about here, where it's like you can try to ignore it, but that you ignoring it will strike up some type of discomfort, some type of anxiety. In fact, most of anxiety stems from the fact that there are things we're not willing to acknowledge or accept. And so that's what's being said here, is that this thing cannot be denied. It is best that you not deny it, because if you do deny it, it'll only manifest as anxiety. Take that as it resonates. The 6 of Cups also kind of... It can sort of mean that there might be a bit of... what's the opposite of harmony? Like this dissonance with certain people or a person with the acknowledgement of this truth that's coming in. You being able to see things clearly because of this knowledge will create a bit of discord, a bit of dissonance with people where in the past you've been able to like have solid ground, or maybe just something on the surface level it's good, or like, you know, it's shaky but everything's good, where now with this it'll like now make that tense. The energy that's kind of coming through is, and this doesn't necessarily have to be true, but it's kind of like if you've been working really hard, or you've done a lot to maintain or establish a very shaky or very kind of like walking on eggshells. Like there's this person who maybe things just got good with, you've worked really hard to get them on your side, maybe that just for whatever reason, and something about this truth coming in will pretty much jeopardize that, or put it, like, take that off the table. And because it's the truth, I have to kind of assume that that's for the best. But anyways, that is what you're unprepared for. This knowledge that's coming in, again, depending on where you're at with, like, it can be a psychic intuitive capacity or a psychic intuitive knowledge. On the other hand of the spectrum, group 2, it's just knowledge, something that you're going to learn that will be very difficult to accept. That being said, I guess brace yourself, buckle up, if we're ready to see how to maneuver through this. All right, we've got Musician Reversed, which features that kind of like Renaissance era, medieval era guitar from like Europe. It's reversed here, the keyword for which is gratitude. We also have Cheeseburger Backpack, Archer, and Water Tower. And then we have the Devil. And with these cards, I'm starting to see why you're feeling unprepared for this knowledge that's coming in. Okay, with Musician Reversed being gratitude, what started to come to mind is how I've been thinking lately on kind of nostalgic in the sense that I used to play a lot of music when I was a kid, whether it was like in choir or I used to play the guitar. In middle school for like a year, I was in band and I learned how to play the violin. And so I used to play a lot of music when I was a kid. And I never really thought about that. I've never really considered myself a musician because I'm not, but I've used to play music. And now I'm older and I don't really have the time to pick up an instrument. And even though I have a guitar in my room and there's like a couple of ukuleles in the house, and I've tried to like learn those things and pick them up, it's just something that I haven't really made the time and space for in my life, even though I feel like I should. And so gratitude in Musician Reversed kind of brings up for me how I'm kind of grateful that I had those experiences and that I get to say that at some point in my life, I did know how to play music. And I don't know, I just feel like it feels like something I can take off a shelf and dust off and do again for myself if I wanted to. And so that's the kind of energy that I'm getting from this card. Specifically that gratitude coming through from the Musician Reversed, because it's like something you no longer have access to, but that you're grateful you either had, or you're grateful that you had it and no longer do, or you're grateful that you went through it because of what it gave you, what you took from it. And so two things that are coming through in the specific context of your reading, where on the one hand, there might be experiences in your past that you might now realize kind of prepared you for what's going on right now, with you feeling unprepared to take on this knowledge. On the other hand, what's coming through is a continuation of what we were talking about in the first half, where if there is something or someone that you're going to lose access to with the acceptance and acknowledgement of this truth, then that's what we're talking about here, where the proper energy is one of gratitude towards access to that thing, or having had that, like being with that person, or being in that space, whatever the case is. I digress because I want to elaborate on that once I get through the rest of these cards. Cheeseburger Backpack and Archer are both saying the same thing but completely differently, where in essence it's about kind of faking it till you make it. It's okay that you don't know how to properly maneuver through what comes next because of this truth that you're acknowledging. The making space for this thing that feels like there's no space for it in your life, like all of that is meant to be uncomfortable and it is meant to be weird, but the point is it's not going to be so overwhelming, and it's not going to take over your life in such a way that it like you stop being yourself, or you completely change as a person. That's honestly not at all what these cards are saying. Sometimes, honestly, the cards can be pretty brutal when a change is demanded, and none of that comes through here. It's not that you have to change, it's just the acceptance of this truth. And so honestly, with this message coming through, it doesn't necessarily feel like, oh, you have to find a space in your life for this. It's not that. You don't have to give anything up, unless of course what I've been talking about is true, where you know that the acceptance of this truth will ask you to give something up. But I'm talking specifically about like, if this it doesn't have to change too much of your life. It doesn't, and it's not you that has to change. It's just certain circumstances. Why am I getting that? Because Cheeseburger Backpack is a backpack that's meant a novelty backpack where each layer of the burger is a different pocket, and the character who bought this backpack is very excited about this backpack. He thinks it's the coolest thing to have a cheeseburger backpack in which you can fit all of these random things, and he's so excited about his cheeseburger backpack that he insists on taking it on a very serious mission, and it's kind of meant to demonstrate how he's not mature enough yet to take this mission seriously. And he swears that he insists that he is, and lo and behold, at the end of the episode, it is revealed that he was so excited to put things into this backpack that he forgot to bring the one thing he was supposed to bring. And the whole kind of episode demonstrates, like, he's not really ready for any of this. Okay. I know that kind of sounds counterintuitive, where it's like, oh, you're not really ready for any of this. It's not so much that, it's that, because, okay, why am I... The truth is going to come, whether it's psychic capacity or something that you're going to find out about, that's going to come. And so you can't mess this up like the character did with his backpack. There's nothing you can do to forget that thing that you're supposed to bring. I'm more getting that you can fit so many things in this bag. You can bring things with you. You're not being asked to abandon everything. You have a very spacious bag that's fun. And so it gives this energy, Archer too, kind of gives this energy of like, this isn't as gloomy or as dramatic or as like bad as it might seem. There's actually an element of lightheartedness here, of fun that you can bring into it, or that exists there if you open your eyes to it. It doesn't have to be scary. That's the thing I was getting from Cheeseburger Backpack. The excitement, how much you can stuff into it. And why that specifically, and not the aspect of like the character is not ready for it. One, because again, there's nothing you can do to like not, you can't ignore this truth. So there's no forgetting it. But then also there's a specific card in this Divinimation deck that's the item he forgot. And if we would have gotten that card, then it would have been like, okay, there might be, you need to take this more seriously. That's not what's being said here. You know how to take things seriously. And maybe that's why this feels so serious, because it's like, yeah, it's psychic capacity, or it's something that you're going to find out that, is going to be very important. So you want to take it as seriously as possible. And these cards are kind of telling you, if you kind of relax about it, and if you invite a little bit of humor or lightheartedness into it, you'll come to find it makes this a lot easier to process and deal with and take on. Archer specifically is a character who is always underprepared. He is never ready. He's never prepared. That's kind of part of his shtick. Every episode he is sent on some type of mission. He never reads the dossier. He doesn't know what the fuck he's supposed to be doing or why he's there. He's drunk literally 99% of the time. The whole point of his character is that his charm and his never-ending luck kind of just carry him. Not only that, he's also very skilled. He's also very, very skilled. He's a very good spy, even though he's drunk all the time. Once he's put into a pickle, he's always going to get himself out because he's really smart. Yeah, he doesn't take things seriously. That's his character. But, like, he's always going to make it out, even if he has to kind of, like, walk through glass and hurt. Like, he has to go through a lot of pain. Like, he's willing to put himself through whatever because he knows that he has to accomplish his mission. And he never admits it out loud, but there is this acknowledgement within him that he knows he could be more prepared and things would go easier, but at the same time, he also knows he's so good he doesn't have to be. And so, like, and he's also a character that's constantly trying to get the characters that are very tense and take things seriously to stop taking things so seriously. Like, he'll poke fun at them, and there's even episodes where he tries, like, he puts an effort to getting people to relax and be a little bit more laid back, like he is. I'm rubbing off on you. Like, so he's that type of character where he's gonna make it through it just fine, which is what's being said here for you. You're so skilled, you're so smart, you're so intelligent. You need to give yourself more faith. But also his commitment to the bit of always just having a laugh, always just making that joke that is inappropriate. I'm not saying that you have to do that. It's just inviting the humor into it. Just, this can be funny if you let it be. This can be a great experience if you make it so. At the end of the day, what it boils down to with these two cards is just have fun with it. Try to have fun with it, because it doesn't have to be as scary as it's kind of shaping out to be. With Water Tower. Okay. Water Tower and Devil specifically are saying give you another message and kind of might paint a clearer picture of why you're a little hesitant to take this on. There's something about this truth and the acceptance of it that is going to bring you attention. The water tower, I mean, a water tower anywhere that it is meant to be visible. That's why this water tower has the WB logo on it, because they know that people will be able to see it, and it's like, oh yeah, we're over here, this is who we are. So there's some semblance of attention that will be brought your way. Whether it's like attention at a grand scale where, you know, it's like, oh, well, there's the weirdo, where there's the psychic, or it's like you knowing something is going to have you move in a different way, and it's like, oh yeah, they started moving differently and that happened. It's something that people know about. I don't know. The thing is, with water tower specifically, it's like this is going to magnetize attention your way. And if you're the type of person who doesn't like attention, we can start to see why this is something that you're hesitating to take on. Again, the truth will not be able to, you're not going to be able to put this truth back in the box. All of this is asking that you accept it, and you're being told it's not going to be as scary as you're making it out to be if you let it be fun. And so the attention can be fun too. I do have further messages about the water tower, but I will return because I want to finish up this reading for those of you who do not believe in psychic energy at all, and this is just about a knowledge, something that you're going to find out about. The devil then is, on the one hand, expanding on the message of attention that you're going to get, and you kind of just have to accept that type of attention, even if it vilifies you. If moving in this way, if moving a different way because of this knowledge, if honoring and moving according to this knowledge makes you the villain in certain people's perspective, you have to take that on, because it is righteous. Even though it's being called the devil, it is a righteous thing that you're doing because it's the truth. Anything that can be destroyed by the truth needs to be. So you being the representation of truth, because you're moving in truth, because you're acknowledging this difficult truth, is, again, it makes what you're doing righteous. And in addition, if it means having to tear certain things down, destroy certain relationships, certain if something is good and you have to now make it tense, like, the whole point is you have to take that on. You have to accept the role of the devil in this case, because the truth is, that's what the truth is asking of you. And so, again, we might start to see why we don't want to take this on, because we're going to be the bad guy, and everybody's going to know about it, or people are going to know that there's no way to deny that I'm the one who's, like, responsible for it. And it's like, but hun, it's the truth. And there's obviously a reason for why it's coming to you specifically. You might be perfectly positioned to be able to do something about it, and so it's kind of now a responsibility. Devil being a major egg coming upwards, and then specifically in the story of that it's a part of, it's a snake made out of fire that burns down forests. And it was kind of told as a mythology to explain why burning down, like, controlled burns of forest land is beneficial to the forest. And so it's like, yes, it's a bad thing, but it is of benefit. And so that's what's being said here, is you having to take on the role and responsibility of that forest burn. Yes, it can be scary. Yes, it can be dangerous if mishandled, but you are very responsible. You are very capable. And so that's why you've been given this truth to handle and kind of accept. Now, if that's it for you, if you're not of the psychic persuasion, thank you for being here. Hope to catch you at another reading. For the rest of you, everything that I said is still true, but we're adding now that layer of psychic energy, where with Water Tower, not only will it give you the attention of the people around you, don't be scared, don't get scared, it'll also gain you the attention of things on the other side. Energies, spirits, things that can now communicate with you because of this new capacity. Don't be scared. Again, you are very capable. You are very smart. And with Musician reversed, it kind of gives this energy of, like, there's something about it where once you start to engage with it, your body, your soul, your energy, your magic, dare I say, will know how to handle it. It'll take over. It's only your physical body that doesn't know how to handle those things. So don't be scared, because there's a reason you can do it. There's a reason you've been chosen to be able to do it. It's because you can handle it. So don't be scared. Just engage with it. Make it fun. Make it more lighthearted. Understand that energy is only scary because, for the most part, it's normies that are engaging with it, and it is scary to them. But you're not a normie. I hate to use that word in that way, but I'm not trying to be mean, but it's just what it is. And so, okay, beyond that, the devil is the acceptance of the stereotype that you will gain by engaging with this stuff. Yes, you will be called a weirdo. Yes, you will be called things, and you will be looked at a certain way. And there might be certain people that you'll reveal this to that you think are cool, and then they'll start to look at you a certain way because you misinterpreted that. Having psychic ability doesn't make us all knowing. We just can see certain things and know certain things. It's the acceptance of that role. It's the acceptance that, yes, you will be labeled a certain way, but this is your truth. This is just what it is, and it can be fun. It doesn't have to be as scary or as negative as you think it might be. You might find once you're here engaging with it that it's quite satisfying. Why I'm saying that is because when you engage genuinely with something that is at the core of who you are, like these gifts are, it can only be a good thing. It can only bring peace to the self, because denying it would only bring like that anxiety and dissonance that we were talking about with the Six of Cups earlier. But yeah, that is what I have for you. I really hope that this had something for you, that it helped in any way, shape, or form. Godspeed, my friend, and I hope to catch you at another reading. Bye.